So when we talk about aggregate supply and aggregate demand, we're not talking about the market for jeans or the market for apples or the market for gasoline. We're talking about what if we took all of the goods and services in the economy and put them together. So when we're referring to aggregate demand, we're going to put a label of AD here instead of just a D like we did in Unit 1. So we're saying this is the demand for all goods and services in the economy. And up here, we're saying that this is the supply of all goods and services in the economy. And rather than just saying price, we're going to call this price level. So it looks similar to what we did in Unit 1, but it's a little bit different. The x-axis is not really a quantity in terms of number of goods and services. We actually assess the quantity of the aggregate in our economy by doing a calculation of the gross domestic product. So we are going to call this real GDP. How we label the intersection is very similar to what we did in Unit 1. Again, the skills are the same, the labels are different. So this is still an equilibrium, but we're going to call this the equilibrium price level, and we're going to call this the equilibrium GDP, or the current or actual real GDP. Students sometimes see this Y right here and they think, ooh, why is that a Y? It's a Y, I think, because Y is the last letter of the word quantity. And because this is not the same graph as market demand and market supply from Unit 1, we want to do some labels that make it look a little different. So when you're setting up your graphs today or in the future, this is how we want to do the base level graph for aggregate demand and aggregate supply. This is how we want to label the axes. This is how we want to label the curves, aggregate demand, aggregate supply, and then the price level that's at an equilibrium place, and then the equilibrium quantity. Just like in Unit 1, we're going to be moving these lines. Let me change my color here. We're going to be moving these lines to the right to show increases. We're going to be moving these lines to the left to show decreases. So the rules are the same. The labels are slightly different. And that's where we're at. Just going to change this. I erased that by accident. And that's your little tutorial on how to